Alright, hey guys, welcome to my King's Gambit Ricochet build for Rafa on Borderlands 4. Alright, so the bread and butter of this build is the King's Gambit, and specifically its legendary effect, Holy Hell, when shot, thrown gun ricochets projectiles to nearby enemies. This actually does proc the indirect projectile bonuses from the left side here of Rafa's red skill tree. Now, I posted a video right before this where I showed off the King's Gambit and I showed off its working with the indirect projectiles. It's because you are throwing the gun to reload it like a TDR and then shooting the bubble around the thrown gun. Therefore, the projectiles are coming out of the thrown weapon and then they count as indirect projectiles. All right, but yeah, let's continue to go over the skill tree. So we've got increased fire rate. This one and this one are basically like if you want to take either or, you can take either or. I like the fire rate because I don't really need any more gun damage because of some things further down the tree. Then I have action skill reduction, or sorry, action skill duration restore every 4 seconds on a crit. This is really good just for keeping up time on my arm cannons. Um, and then the next thing I take is Maestro. Maestro gives you skill damage. Skill damage is important because I am mainly using my cannons for this build. And then El Valiente. El Valiente makes it to where if I am at maximum shield capacity, I do 30% more damage from all sources. And then Instinto. So this is just crit chance for my cannons and for myself, but it's mainly for my cannons because those auto fire. And I am lazy and I don't want to aim. Uh, just like Rafa. Just like Rafa. That's why I chose him. But yeah, so that is this first little bit up here. Then I'm going to go down here and touch up on the right. So we use Barrage. Barrage is only here as like a skipping stone to get to the things further down. I don't really do any splash damage. However, I understand that there are like the underbarrels of the Jacob shotguns, which are really good, and this like directly affects those and therefore making you do more damage with that kind of stuff. The next thing I grab is Devil May Care. Devil May Care is an overdrive skill, and it says while overdrive is active, Rafa gains increased movement speed and health regeneration. So the movement speed can get up to like 150% increased movement speed whenever I just like activate my ability because of all the bonuses from the class mod and this one right here, Saltado. Um, this is just a really good passive. Don't skip on this. If you use the trick that I'm going to show you, you can keep your ability up all the time. The next thing I use is I honestly don't know how to say it. I don't I don't know Spanish words, but yeah. So this is increased gun damage and minus gun handling. This is extremely good, especially considering that my class mod gives me 5 levels into this, making me deal 100% more gun damage, but I have 100% minus gun handling when I reach 10 stacks. And so because of Saltado, this increases that to 200%, and then I have another 100% bonus on my class mod. I can get up to 500% increased damage in the like little character sheet here. I wish there was like a better way to like see the breakdown and like where you're getting these bonuses from, but you know this number damage dealt is increased by 500% whenever I get everything going. So I pretty damn sure that's pretty good. Next thing I get is isometric warfare. So this is just to increase damage to my indirect projectiles, which all of my projectiles are from the King's Gambit. And then Errant Spark makes all those indirect projectiles from the King's Gambit do fire damage. And then, oh yeah, right here, makes them have life steal as well. This will keep you alive when paired with Devil May Care. Uh, you become really tanky. Then lateral plinking. So this is like iffy right now. I'm not entirely sure if it's working or not. From my testing, I can't really see that it is. But if they fix it, when they fix it, this will be pretty good. I'm pretty damn sure it'll cause like, you know, chain reactions, make the mobbing and bossing of this build even better. And so I have 5 more points to show off. My next 5 points are into reload speed, and that is because I want to be reloading the King's Gambit as fast as I can to get those bubbles out onto the field. The last thing that my class mod increases is fire rate. Fire rate, this is pretty good, especially with all my bonuses to my overdrive skills. This is like I'm pretty sure when you get everything up and going, it's like a 20, it goes from 5% to a 20% increase to fire rate, which is very, very nice. It feels good. The next thing I'm going to touch up on, I already showed you the King's Gambit. I don't know if it can roll with any other elements. I farmed it for a little bit. I haven't seen any more. So I'm pretty sure it's just like it can't roll in any element. I haven't seen any other weapon parts on it. It's only been Jacob's so far. But we're mainly using it for the legendary effect anyway. So the next thing we use the triple bypass. So the triple bypass, when paired with something in our specializations, allows us to keep our ability up infinitely, as long as we have the 3 charges. Next thing I use is the atomic swarm. I just use the swarm grenade because the swarm grenade is a quality of life. I don't really have to think. I can throw and forget. My next thing that I use is my class mod. It is the Dancer class mod. The Dancer class mod is probably Rafa's best class mod. It feels really good to use. Mine has 45% increased action skill duration. That is really, really good. I haven't seen another one with a higher action skill duration on there. And then 25% action skill cooldown rate. Now, what I like about my class mod in particular is the bonuses that I got on it, the skill bonuses. These are like really, really good. Um, and then my shield, I use a firework shield. So this one is not perfect. I want fire damage for my elemental details. Um, because it would make the missiles that this thing shoots out do fire damage, and these are indirect projectiles, so the fire damage that it deals is only increased by 40%. If I got one that does fire damage, it would go up to 80% increased damage, which is really, really good. And then, so my next thing here is my enhancement. The enhancement is a little bit more specialized to this build. So I got really lucky and I had mine roll with gun reload speed and pistol reload speed. So right now I'm sitting at like, I think it's like 53 or no, it's like above 50% reload speed for my pistol. And so this is like really good for the reload speed, so I can get those bubbles out on the field very quickly. And so the firmware that I use Deadeye. I mainly am using Deadeye for gun accuracy to offset the minus to my gun accuracy from my skill. And then I have God Killer on here because, you know, I like to be able to melt badasses very, very quickly. And now I'm going to touch up on the specializations. So the specializations, there's a couple ways you can go. Uh, but right now we're going to touch on now with caffeine. So now with caffeine is what I was mentioning earlier with the infinite action skill. So now with caffeine, when paired with the triple bypass has 3 charges and you have a 30% chance to get one back on a kill. And this states every time you use your rep kit, you get 25% of your ability back. So this is 75% of my ability cooldown off the top every time that it ends, because by the time that my action skill ends, as long as you're not spamming it when you're not supposed to be, you'll have all 3 charges back, and you can just, you know, get your action skill back really quickly. Um, Next thing I use is Bullet Train. Bullet Train is pretty good. You get increased damage just by walking. I like to strafe back and forth whenever I am reloading my gun over and over again at a boss, and I'm also always walking with them. And I'll show that like that strategy here in a bit. Next thing I use is I am a gun. So I am a gun makes it to where action skill damage is now benefited from gun damage. It's only 50% of the gun damage, but you know, with all the bonuses that I have to gun damage, this is a lot of damage to my action skill. Next thing I use is a Honed Mind. A Honed Mind increases my critical chance on my action skill, and it makes the crits do more damage. This is just for upkeep, just so I can have more crit chance and more crit damage, so that when my cannons are shooting at an enemy and not at a bubble, I am keeping my ability up just by that happening. But yeah, that is all of the specializations. Some things that I would suggest. If you can find a place to work this into your build, I honestly would recommend swapping off Bullet Train for it, because Bullet Train doesn't do as much damage here, and this would affect your action skill, and it would cause a chain reaction with I am a gun, hopefully, to give you a 15% increase to your action skill damage on top of the 30% that it's getting from the best defense. But yeah, so that is everything with the build. I'm going to show you a demonstration now on how I use the build. I'm going to show you a mobbing demonstration and a bossing demonstration. But yeah, thanks for watching. You can click off now if you don't need any more. But yeah, you have a good day. Alright, so we are here at the Pitted Stain. We're going to be hunting the Foundry Freaks. So this is just a demonstration of the mobbing and a little bit of the bossing as well. But so the way I like to play with this is I like to reload my gun and then like walk with it, so then I basically guarantee that my turrets, my Peacebreaker cannons, are always going to be hitting the bubble. And as you can tell, it actually works very well. And everything around me is just like dying. Oopsies, killed myself there. And then I killed myself again. There we go. Gotta love it. But yeah, so then these are the bosses right here, obviously. You already know them. So that was with one reload, I did half of their health. Then second reload. Now they're all dead. Now the last guy was over here, he was lingering in the back, not able to be hit, and now he's dead. So obviously, this is really good. This is Ultimate Vault Hunter Mode 5. So these enemies have like 350% increased health. And the normal enemies, including badasses, are being like one-tapped by the ricochets from the King's Gambit. It really does pull its weight. But yeah, that's the like nice demonstration. And this works against all of the harder bosses in the game too. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a good day.